Hello, welcome to the self-learning platform by Dr. Sushma Singh. Today we start Unit 11, Jawaharlal Nehru. As an active politician and an author with sociological realism and political pragmatism, Nehru would hardly subscribe to the concept of culture as an organic unity permeated with some primordial systems. Nehru could never entertain such a perspective of India's structural cultural community, but he did appreciate the vicissitudes of India's historical transformations from the days of the ancient Harappan civilization to the contemporary one. He was not the man who would acknowledge the revelation of God or Dharma in the Indian cultural manifestations. Nehru is a naturalist, determinist who upholds physical, geological, geological, chemical, and anthropological data, but sees no spiritual governance of the cosmetic process. So, with Nehru's histology, there are no providential dispensation and no emotional attachment to any specific culture. Though Nehru was a Brahmin, he did not attach any meaning to ritualism. He did not admire the Gita gospel of dedicated, disinterested altruism and was never thrilled by the exalted oration of the Vishwarupa of Gita's 11th chapter. He was more influenced by Russell and Lenin than by notion of nirvana. The external materialistic attempts of the Western Soviet worlds fascinated Nehru more than Puranic cosmography of the Oriental world. That does not mean that Nehru was all Marxist and Leninist. He did know the strength of the Marxism Leninism, but he also knew that it was weak in domains relating to humanist values when it ignored the positive aspect of capitalist system and also when it came to dwell solely on materialistic factors. Nehru was a blend of the two extremes, the external civilizational advancement together with a quest for realization of values in all spheres of human activities. Professor Varna holds the view towards the later part of his life, Jawaharlal would have agreed that materialistic dialectics and class polarity cannot be adequate tools for understanding the widespread manifestations of alienation. Values, he continues, in turn lose their significance if they are solely regarded as class ideological responses. Nehru's concept of culture was not spiritual but material. It was not eternal but humanist. It was more or less this worldly, historical, and to that extent a blend of secular and temporal, social and economic values. His culture was not dogmatic, fundamentalist, fanatical, narrow, prophetic, angolical, divine, and godly. It was one that was an apostle of compassion, altruism, humanism, and one which was more close to liberty, equality, fraternity, and human rights and rationalistic. Speaking about the concept of culture, Professor Varna says cultural comprehensiveness requires an emancipated mind, liberated from the shackle of dogmatic and revealed theology. The renunciation of unjust demands for the retention of unfounded socio-economic vestiges and abjuration of all claims to impose one's limited conceptions of ethics, justice, and social norms on the others, professing loyalty to divergent creeds and religious tenets. About Nehru's culture, Professor Verma concludes Jawaharlal and some other top spokesmen of Gandhian values found it easy to reconcile democratic liberalism with social toleration and cultural pluralism because they had genuine commitment to the demands of patriotism oriented towards cosmopolitan fulfillment. Jawaharlal was sincere in his advocacy of secularism as a political and cultural value. Here we want to wind up this lecture and thank you so much for your attention.